Hey, 2023 was a pretty busy year for movies, and I watched quite a few of them. So I thought I'd come on here and share my top 10. Just want to say that this list is more of my favorites from the year rather than an objective best of the year, if you can even do objectively best, but whatever. I sort of rank movies with how much I personally connected with it, but also how much I think it pushes the medium of filmmaking, in a sense. It's also just really how much I vibed with it, if you want to put it that way. I also want to note that I haven't seen everything this year, far from it. Distribution in Australia can be pretty dicey. For example, I haven't seen The Boy and the Heron, The Holdovers, The Iron Claw, and Anatomy of a Fall. All four probably had a good chance of getting my top 10 as well, but yeah. Before we go into the concrete top 10, I just want to touch on a few films that I feel like deserve a mention. Talk to Me is an Australian horror directed by Danny and Michael Philippou, who both started out as YouTubers. It's absolutely inspiring that for a directorial debut from two Australians, the film is this expertly made and gaining so much global attention. The film authentically represents Australia, and Danny and Michael both effortlessly use camera, sound and visual effects to balance the fun parts of the horror genre, while also delivering a lasting message that you can take away from the movie. The film uses the supernatural and comments on teen culture and drug abuse without holding anything back. The story is confronting, dark and real, and Sophie Wilde is an actress definitely to look out for in the future. A Haunting in Venice is the third film in Kenneth Branagh's Agatha Christie franchise, and while I found the first two bland and uninteresting, A Haunting in Venice stands out above the rest. Utilising delicate production design, wide lenses and low and high angles, Branagh creates an uneasy atmosphere for the classic Agatha Christie story to thrive in. Branagh delivers his best performance as a Belgian detective in a film that challenges Poirot and his ideals. The film also has beautiful cinematography, with it being shot on location in Venice. The film probably isn't scary enough for a horror film and is cheesy in a classic murder mystery sort of way, but is very entertaining nonetheless. Blackberry is a cautionary tale about the cost of success and the impact meteoric rise can have on friendships and livelihoods. Pulling no punches, director Matt Johnson expertly utilises documentary-style camera work to immerse the audience in the frantic business world the characters inhabit. Glenn Howerton and Jay Baruchel combine to give two of the best performances of the year and deliver an entertaining yet tragic story. Didn't quite have the lasting impression of A Social Network and takes artistic liberties, but is very solid nonetheless.
Come on, it's gonna stop. It's got to. Right?
Leave the World Behind is a modern apocalyptic thriller directed by Sam Esmail. The film really comes together to create spellbinding tension through clever camera work, acting, and score. Through the randomness of the events in the film and weird happenings to our characters, the film is uneasy and anxious, and constantly asking questions of its audience, of which little the film answers, making it all the more haunting. Mahershala Ali and Julia Roberts are standouts, and the film's ultra-modernity and the story's small distance from its watching audience creates a tense relationship and an uneasy tone throughout the film. Greta Gerwig exceeded all my expectations. In a film that could have been lazy, reductive and cringe, Barbie comments on its own irony and delivers a film that's ridiculously clever and impactful on a meaningful level for so many people, and that is commendable. Even if it didn't connect with you, through every set it's clear the film was made with so much care and passion, and that ultimately reflects onto the audience. The film has funny jokes, catchy songs, and is wonderfully choreographed. Gosling and Robbie are also both amazing. Theatre Camp might be the funniest movie of the year. The film uses zooms and handheld camera work that makes Theatre Camp not only hilarious, but also feel alive. The camera work and lighting create an amateur vibe and look that matches the feel and sense of the film, and also its subject matter. Through improvised performances, the cast deliver hysterical jokes that feel like they come from a place of authenticity and love, and not hate and ridicule. The film was not only funny, but also heartwarming and impactful on a School of Rock level. Also, shout out Jimmy Tatro for being the best Don Bro out there.
Listen up. Squad, game.
Godzilla Minus One shows us exactly why the big budget movies are dying. It is mind-boggling that this film was only made for $15 million. Godzilla Minus One might have the most threatening and pulsating Godzilla yet, with his every step shaking the theatre of which you watch it in. And while Godzilla is amazing, because he is, Godzilla Minus One actually excels in telling its human stories and its exploration of human psychology and struggle in the face of daunting destruction, bringing the classic Godzilla story back to greatness and reminding audiences what a Godzilla story should be.
Well, why don't you come home with me? Come to Saltburn.
Saltburn has its lovers and haters, and I'm a lover. First of all, the cinematography is up there with my best of the year. Every shot is lit and framed in a way that keeps your eyes glued to the screen and the story. The film's story quietly, unexpectedly dissolves itself into madness before you sat there in the theatre wondering what you've just watched and wondering how you got there, and then asking questions of the film's tumultuous past just gone by before you. The film efficiently uses sets, needle drops, and its aspect ratio to deliver a weirdly periodic tale of the early 2000s. Barry Keoghan and Jacob Elordi are next level, and the film is an unexpected, wild, fun ride. When the trailer dropped for Asteroid City, I sort of took a sigh, as I was left wanting more, something different from Wes. As we all know, his style is remarkable, but with his 11th film in his filmography, what is he going to do different with it? And yeah, he did something different, but not on the first watch. It was only the second watch that I realised how intricate and detailed the story is. It still has all the hallmarks of a good Wes Anderson movie. It's weird, quirky, symmetrical, deadpan. It has a stacked cast, lovable characters, an addicting score, and so forth. However, while creating an inception of stories, and what I mean by that is stories within themselves, Wes delivers thoughtful commentary on how we as humans should approach art, life, grief, death, and trauma, through the blurring of lines between these stories. So I urge you to watch it with a keen eye, and maybe watch it again with a keener eye. Jason Schwartzman and Scarlett Johansson also expertly deliver lessons in subtle acting.
And me. Rocket.
Guardians of the Galaxy is really the shining light of the MCU, and they're only MCU films that feel like they're actually made with care and passion. It's clear that director James Gunn cares for these characters and stories, and that is shown through the screen. James Gunn isn't afraid to put these characters to the wall and see if we care about them, and has the courage to put finality on a franchise and deliver a satisfying ending for every single character in a clean and consistent ultimate last film, which is unbelievably rare nowadays. I don't need to tell you that the animation is amazing, but it is. It pushes the boundary of what is possible with animation. Every shot and every frame has an energy and life to it that is magnetic to your eyes watching that screen. The way the animation matches the characters' emotions in every scene is as good as I've maybe seen ever. But it's not just the animation. These characters are so well written. Every character feels authentic and understandable. They all have motivations and backgrounds and reasons for acting the way they act. And it's refreshing to actually see a Spider-Man with which I really connected to. Miles really is just a teenager trying to make it in a big bad world. And that comes from the film's ability to keep itself grounded while telling a story filled with 50,000 spider people and Spider-Verse, which is something only Everything Everywhere All at Once has achieved in recent times.
8, 7, 6.
Oppenheimer was probably my most anticipated movie of the year, and I was lucky enough to see it at the Grand Rex Theatre in Paris. And it was about 30 seconds or so into the film that I took a sigh of relief and I realised, it's good. The film is a cinematic achievement. There's not many other movies out there that have as many flawless acting performances across the board than Oppenheimer does. Downey, Damon, Blunt, Pugh, and Brenner. I could go on. Oppenheimer takes such complicated subject matter and deals with it so delicately, and ultimately showcases the discourse of politics and science and how our world treats discovery and looks back on our past. And I could keep going on for hours about how the score reflects the complexity of the story. I could talk about the scale of the cinematography, the flawless editing, Cillian Murphy's eyes. But essentially the movie works and is a Nolan masterpiece because he's able to combine all of these things to not only push the boundaries of what cinema is capable of, but gets us the audience to connect with and understand J. Robert Oppenheimer and his experience.
But
You and I knew each other in another life.
Past Lives is my favourite movie of 2023, and a film that had the biggest emotional impact on me in 2023. The film really is a breath of fresh air in the romantic genre. It does this by directly calling out the audience's expectations of the romantic genre set before it. The film balances realism and romanticism to bring a narrative that made me reflect on my own past life, which for me is the ultimate thing a film can achieve. And this is from a directorial debut from Celine Song. The film was a subtle commentary on how we experience life and look back and forwards in the face of it. Greta Lee, Tioyo, and John Magaro's ability to represent emotions of melancholy, longing, and regret all at the same time in single looks is frankly breathtaking. The film was beautiful. It looks phenomenal, and the pacing allows you to connect with the characters' emotions and feelings towards the settings they experience and we are experiencing. The film asks questions of destiny, fate, and love, and is beautiful in more ways than I've just said, but Past Lives is a delicate masterpiece. So yeah, there's the list. I'm pretty surprised actually. If you would have told me Barbie would be on the list at the start of the year, I wouldn't have thought so. 2 superhero movies in it, and I haven't even heard of Theatre Camp at the start of the year. So yeah. Another surprise is Poor Things and The Killer I thought would be on my list at the start of the year, because Yorgos Lanthimos and David Fincher are 2 of my favourite directors. But yeah, I don't know. Didn't really connect with those as much as I thought I would. But yeah. And now that the year's done, I guess we have to ask the question, was it a good year for cinema? I think Barbenheimer is undeniably great. What they did for cinema, both grossing $1 billion, is crazy. And I also think we saw a lot of good independent films get a rise. And I think that's really great. I think this year was also interesting in the fact, if you look at sort of that meta-modern phase that we're going through, Spider-Verse, even Barbie in a sense, and Asteroid City, all sort of being takes on themselves, which I thought was pretty interesting to see. And I think that's really coming from the fact that people are so digitally literate in a sense. Everyone already knows so many stories that filmmakers are finding clever ways to tell the same stories over and over again. And I think that's great. I think 2023 was also an interesting year because we saw big movies fail. Indiana Jones lost to heaps of money. Ant-Man and the Wasp. So it'll be interesting to see whether this superhero era carries on or it gets taken over. And looking forward to 2024, Dune Part 2. Love the first Dune, love Denis Villeneuve. I think it's going to be great. The trailer looks so good. And yeah. Also Mickey 17, Bong Joon-ho, Robert Pattinson, sci-fi, I'm there. And also Nosferatu. Robert Eggers for me hasn't made a bad movie yet. I've loved all 3 of his. And I cannot wait for it. I'll be there. So yeah, one of the reasons why these lists are really good is that it encourages a conversation around movies. So feel free to leave your list in the comments, top 10, a top 5, a top 3, and what you agreed and disagreed with my list. I'd be happy to hear it. So yeah, cheers.